This is the Viper, the third generation of ships to bear the name from Falcon de Lacy, and one of the few ships that makes me draw comparisons to its namesake. It's fast, deadly, and if it does its job well, you'll never know it was there. Put simply, this is the fastest ship in the galaxy. Fully stripped and engineered, it can clock a blisteringly fast 930 plus meters per second. And if you're curious, that's over 2,080 miles per hour. A little under Mach 3. That is face-meltingly fast. But it does make the Viper exceptional. And there's a problem with that. Making the Viper exceptional actually makes it worse at what it was built to do. This. See, the Viper was designed with one thing in mind: shooting the other guy before he can shoot you. And while stripping it down to its bolts might make it faster, it does put you at a disadvantage in a fight. But that's mostly because you won't have guns, or a shield. You can understand how that might be an issue. Still, even dressed up for the ball, it's not slow. But even if it was, I'm not sure I'd believe it. The Viper is one of those ships that looks like it's already going at half the speed of sound when it's parked. Just look at it. The way the canopy curves into the frame of the body, the chamfered edgework, the flared engine housing. No wonder it's the fastest ship in the galaxy. Hell, if there were any air in space, this thing would cut right through it. In combat, the Viper is a fighter pilot's dream. Its delta shape and small hit profile make it a tricky target to pin down. And its hard point placement makes it easy to not only concentrate fire, but to mix up how you dish that damage out. You're not just relying on two small pulse lasers on the Sidewinder anymore. Now you have options. And those two medium and two small hardpoints means that the engineers can set you up with a bevy of experimental effects. A small multi-cannon with caustic ammunition is always a good accessory weapon for any combat ship. But in the case of the Viper, you may want to look into something with a thermal vent option, as the Viper can and will cook itself if you get a little too excited with the heavier weaponry. And this brings up an interesting point. Done properly, there's not a lot of room to mess around when building out a Viper. At the end of the day, everything is going to need to be measured, placed, calculated, and tuned to be exactly the way it is. And anything else is completely unacceptable. It feels like the person who flies the Viper is the kind of person who tells you there's no food allowed inside. The kind of commander who steam cleans the pilot's seat every other day to keep the leather from drying out. The kind of commander who would immediately change a blinker light, but never actually use it. And I get it. The Viper is a small ship, and to properly go up against some of the big boys, it's important to have everything how you need it to be. There's just no room for mistakes. And if you're a combat pilot looking to hone your skills, then the Viper should be your first real ship. It would, ideally, teach you how to build out a combat ship. You'll learn how different weapons vary in combat versus on paper, proper pip management, and, hopefully, the value of flying with flight assist off. You'll learn all these things because you'll have to, out of necessity, or... This ship, then, lives right at the line of excitement and precision. And I don't like it. I want to like it. I like the way it looks. And I love the insane amount of niche paint jobs it has available. As a combat ship, I think it does what it says on the box. A skilled Viper pilot can easily take down pirate anacondas and crates in a resource site. It's just not for me. Honestly, it feels cramped. It's too small. And while it does have a respectable armament for its size, I'm just used to bigger ships with bigger guns, bigger power plants, and bigger power distributors. I'm used to flying ships where putting on a bobblehead doesn't feel like I'm adding unnecessary weight. Ships that are more forgiving, less Spartan than the Viper. And you might argue that I'm spoiled by better, more expensive ships. I've simply outgrown the Viper, as I'm not a fresh-faced pilot straight out of the academy. But I'm sorry, I just don't think that's true anymore. With the ludicrously lucrative economics we currently have, there simply isn't a reason anybody has to fly a Viper. More to the point, the process of slowly earning credits to experiment with the ship before settling into a finely tuned groove is completely optional. Plainly, if you're in a Viper, you chose to be there. You chose to fly a ship that made combat a bit harder as a test of your skill. You chose to have less internal slots, and to engineer your power distributor. You chose to finely tune a fighter craft to do one particular thing, and almost nothing else. And you chose to steam clean your pilot seat. In some way, shape, or form, you chose to make a ship exceptional, even if it made you worse. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like this, please consider subscribing, and if you'd like to support making more of these, head on over to the Patreon page. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week.